Hey, I recorded one more session of backtesting, and with this one I specifically proud of, and I will do a weird thing. So I already recorded it, but I was not filming it, just to like completely be with myself, and still, I still feel pretty a lot of pressure when when you are backtesting live. So maybe you rush up a bit or just. Uh, Anyways, so this session has 50% win rate, which is like absolutely huge for me. Then over the course of 70 days, I performed like 18 trades. So for 2R target, the results are 18R profit, like minus 9R, so a 9A profit. What I also can say that I'm basically like testing. So I tested 100 trades right now. I mean, not overall, but in the latest period. So in the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe 4 weeks, and many trades, most of the trades were ICIs. And what I have now is this. So if we look at analysis, it's 50% for 2R, for 1 and 2R, basically 50 and then 45, but almost one number. So 1R is not profitable, 2R is very profitable. Then there is a decrease in win rate, like 3-4, approximately the same, which is 2 times less profitable than 2R, and then a further increase in RRs. I would say if you compare it to my live results for the last 100 trades, it's basically 3 times worse on the RR, so only 10R for 100 trades. So backtesting is much better because I'm picking more high quality setups, but win rate for the past 100 trades is like 34%, I guess. Yeah, so this quick statistic. So what we will do now, and I mean, I'm doing it for myself, first of all. But while I was backtesting, I put a lot of comments here. And what I will do is just click where I started. So this is the continuation of the previous session for GU, and I guess I will do it to the end. But maybe once I will have the data for lower time frames, I will switch to lower time frames. And again, sorry for these long videos, but this is just how I record. Okay, so what we will do is this. Click here. Yeah, this is where we ended up with the previous session. And what I really like, this is what I really like about ICI is that you were in. Okay, maybe it's later, yeah. But overall, like when you have some kind of reaccumulation started, and you are a person who easily starts to force SSCs, trying to predict the confirmation of reaccumulation, because you understand that the price should go like up more likely, then you are stopped out a lot. However, when you are waiting for some kind of ICIs, you will most likely not get triggered, and so you will save yourself many entries until in the end you will have impulse, maybe SSC, then maybe ICI here or ICI there. So yeah, for the mindset it's really easy and I like it. And I also can say it about live trading as well. Yeah. Okay, so oh, actually maybe we finished here because I see this loser. Yeah. So what we had is daily. That was kind of bullish, kind of reaccumulation, kind of confirmed. Why I'm saying kind of? Because the price is still, I mean, the arguments could be there for bullish side, And especially on 4 hours, we have some build-ups, we have impulse, this long correction, and then the price started to go up with the impulse. And 1 hour is also very clear. So we had down movements, now up movements, and some zones that are starting to hold, some moves that are starting to hold after ICIs already. Okay. So by the way, probably if we, from the standpoint of patterns, and if we forget that we are actually confirming on 15 minutes, this kind, so again, just forget about everything here. Let's just focus. It's interesting. I can't somehow cancel my actions. Okay. So this ICI, this impulse correction and impulse here is like a perfect textbook example for me at this time. I can't. So yeah, this is like really nice. You see an impulse that is starting like pretty slowly, but then accelerates. You know, it accelerates. Some impulses they literally die when they go up. So maybe a quick example would be. I mean, I have example from the live price, but yeah, maybe this one. You see, like impulse, it's breaking and it's dying, you know, once. But this one is just breaking and breaking with the strength. So yeah, that's really nice example. So on the 1 hour, we had this impulse correction, possible impulse. Okay, that's weird. That's really weird. I don't know why it does not want to. Okay, impulse correction looking to take this high, and let's go to 15 minutes. So what we have on 15 minutes, we have some bullish price action, we have some bullish price action, and my comments here, some correction, and now and now we had this impulse once again, correction. So by the way, do you see the similarity between what I showed right now in 1 hour? So let's take a look. So we have accelerated move, correction, tightening, and impulse. And now we are basically and here we had the same impulse, correction, so no tightening like this, but you can say that these like this tightening just spread out vertically, making this correction basically. Yeah, and then inside of the pattern we are looking for the same pattern, and here it is, impulse, accelerating, really clean, really nice tightening, and when the price went up, so it was a buy stop. And by the way, recently I started to use buy stops. It's pretty weird because sometimes on live trading, because if the price is here and you want to place your buy stop here, it actually won't allow you. It will want that you place a buy stop there, which is pretty weird. Okay, so here I wrote, we want to establish maximum information before entering and feel confident on the entry itself, because when it's in the zone, when it's in a classical SSC like this, and we are even entering here, unless it's like super duper clear, we cannot know for sure that it's already going for the target, you know, it's already moving, because it can easily do something like this. But in example of ICI, we have already a price that moved, made a correction, now moving again through this liquidity, ideally accompanied with some other liquidity from other high or other time frame, and of course the context. So yeah, and basically, you know, I sometimes backtest or forward test, and I will record a separate video about it, when you when you are looking at the price, you know, and let's say we don't know what will happen here, but you are looking at the price and you say, oh, at this point, you know, you don't know what will happen here, but at this point you already saw that the price is breaking, and you say, oh, I mean, this could be a potential entry, and you just backtest in it's like, it's just fun exercise, you know, and it can help you to focus on continuations, you know, focus on continuations, and you just like half hindsighting and playing with the price, just studying it. But with the ICI, you like kind of using it in a real time, yeah, because it's when you enter from the zone, you kind of say, okay, this is the zone, and now I expect that the price will go. But with the ICI, yes, you also say, I'm entering here and I expect the price to expand. But the difference is it's already doing it. It's already expanding, and usually with bigger speed and so on. So yeah, I really enjoy it, and yeah. So here, the price started to fall down. I created this SSC here, and I don't know why I decided to go for shorts. I mean, in hindsight, it looks pretty bad, but maybe because of, you know, I don't even know. It was just following the 15 minutes. Yeah, just following the 15 minutes. Maybe looking at this overall box, something like this. So yeah, not the best example given into considerations. Oh yeah, I was just selling through this low. So this is basically a really poor entry because you had already like several candles in a row, so no tightening. Maybe if you wanted to force, you could have like this SSC and now impulse correction, like entry here with this impulse, or impulse correction entry here. But yeah, when you have this relatively big ranges, it could work. But if we look just a little bit wider, you already see that this is reaccumulation, and our expectation because of this bigger impulse is just maybe further back and forth, but not immediate impulse to the downside. This is what I think about it. Yeah, and it turned out to be a loser. But another thing I noticed about the relation between impulse correction impulses and SSCs is that when the market is clear, SSCs of course are also holding, and sometimes you get better entry from SSC and not ICI. But that's just the nature of the systems, and you need to decide. I mean, you have some advantages and disadvantages, and for me right now, yeah, for me right now, ICI is a very good thing, and I can be much more confident that I will catch the move because let's say this: imagine you are looking at this price and you have this zone, and now you're thinking, okay, if the price will go, but if the price will make a push, and I will miss it, and you start to be like really anxious. But with ICI, even if it does not go here, it will probably make some kind of ICI before break it, or ideally before the break, like here. Or even if it does not do anything and goes with one impulse, you will still have the possibility to buy here, you know. So it's much more probable that you will catch the move if it will happen. So here I just I had this this line probably showing. Okay, I don't know why this line is here, to be honest. Maybe it's something that to show that we have impulse, like impulse correction, and probably for a possible buy stop. But yeah. So here the price, what it did, as we discussed, it went first of all through 4 hours, like double mitigation, yeah, repeat mitigation. So we had like this big zone. And first of all, we had this zone, this move, then this bigger move, then this huge correction into accumulation here, then some 2.0 started to build up, absorbed, impulse correction, impulse, big impulse with the break, zone, fractal accumulation, and now the price is breaking from here. So what is the target? The target is here, daily is confirming. So we have daily accumulation, so the context is definitely there. And I mean, you see, we don't need, especially with 2RR systems, we don't need to like to actually say, okay, the price in the next year will go like 10,000 pips to one side or another, and we don't need to know exactly how it will be done, because whenever it will go in some kind of patterns, and we will be able to catch some of the moves, and basically that's enough. So on 15 minutes we had another pretty clear movement like this, impulse correction, and on the break there was an entry. Now let's imagine that we traded this zone as a C. So you could say that you could have this entry. So you have impulse. Okay, let me clean it up a bit, because that's crazy basically. So you had this zone, and now see how many entries you have. Like one entry, second entry, third entry. And yes, in this case this zone held like perfectly, but how much time you had to wait, and it can all build some kind of stress and anxiety. Of course, if you want to search like force ICIs, then you could have this entry which failed, or this entry which also didn't develop like perfectly, and maybe even was a loser. So yeah, it all depends, but this was basically the entry. And yeah, and you see how cool this system is, because the zone here is also perfect, so everything is textbook, and we didn't start like a big trend yet, and we could easily expect to come back to the zone to find entries like this, but it didn't happen. Imagine seeing this price just going away from you, and yeah, it's also very stressful. So yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with what we have here. And I just recorded how much trade rate, but actually it was a 2R here or here. Let's see how the price developed also. I made another impulse correction, but this impulse is worse, of course, compared to this one. Impulse into the zone, impulse correction, impulse into a loser, depending where you protect, impulse correction, impulse correction. Let's see what happens further, but right now it's a bit overextended. Yeah, so yeah, it actually went into Asian session, into chop, then what happened is basically that we went into this pretty unclear situation, but then started to build up some zones. So we had this 2.0, and let's see what we had on 15 minutes. So on 15 minutes we had this zone, we had this chain, and we started to have this SSC fractal, or impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse, this SSC, one more fractal SSC, impulse, this correction, and then big impulse through the high, correction here. So let's look at it, how it looked. So and then I just said, okay, it seems like the price maybe wants to break it, so if it goes through the high, let's buy it. And that was it basically. That was the entry. So it went to target, and so these are not I mean, yeah, this is not an entry, this one, it's like a saved entry, you see, and this one is a loser. So I had impulse, correction, price started to go, but then failed. Why it failed? Too many consecutive shifts of structure, and also the price definitely started to lose momentum here. So yeah, maybe not the best entries, but they were okay. Strange. It's possible that I basically deleted a lot of comments when I was deleting oh, maybe not, I don't know. Maybe when I was deleting brushes, I deleted comments because I remember like more comments than this. I mean, okay, no, no big deal. Then the price basically created an impulse, and we expected some maybe correction or deeper price action. So just stayed out, maybe some action session, I don't know. Here we had this impulse correction impulse. However, again, the bias is still bullish for hours, delivering bullish. Daily looking to take out this high. After 2.0 is holding, we create one more break and so on. So when the price reached into zones on 4 hours, so into unmitigated this week, but this just failed, and this started to show a reaction. We had some back and forth, possible accumulation with a shift up, and you see how it goes, like impulse, correction, impulse, into the zone, impulse, and then it created this really nice pattern. So how I saw it is like this. Basically, what we have maybe on 20 minutes. You see we have impulse, correction, and this high is building up. And I said, okay, if this SSE wants to hold, if it wants to go to this target and higher, then it probably needs to move through these highs. And if it will do it, then we can buy it. And basically it did this and continued higher with really nice price action. That's really nice. You see how it moved, and basically it even made this small ICI, but this specific entry was based on the break of this height. ICI, then impulse correction into the zone itself, impulse correction into the zone, and this is a kind of entry I was speaking about. When you don't have any kind of ICI, you can just buy through this high if the range is not like this, if it's more or less fine in terms of size. So I mean, you can treat the range itself and as an ICI, of course, but ideally when we see some tightenings here or here, then it gives us more fuel, more fuel to go even higher. Okay, and then later you also have this ICI, but it's a bit high. It's a bit high in the move. You see, it's, yeah. Yeah, and that's why I really like 2R target, because I already backtested 2R for like a lot trades, and actually like 1 and 2R, they are really close in terms of win rate. So but then you have this drop for the 3R, at least for me. So you see, if I want something with the higher win rate, it really makes sense to look at 2R, and really often 2R, it gives like this build up, entry setup, and then relatively in one move it achieves 2R. But if you want to wait for 5R or even 4R, you will need to go through additional tightenings, additional reaccumulation. So for instance, if I was looking to take it to 4R, then I would need to wait out this. Of course, I realized that it should go up, and I traded 7R, 5R system, but it's so much longer to wait. And yeah, I mean, I really like 2R system. And I was surprised. I was looking through my old mentors and old YouTube channels I followed, and there is a lot of similarity between different systems that are using something like this. And I noticed that really cool traders, they also target like sometimes 1R, 1.5, 2R, and they don't target like huge RRs, but they do it consistently. And yeah, that's why I feel so much confluence in the trading space between these lower targets, you know. And of course, good traders also, they follow like really high quality setups, which is basically a battle that I'm doing right now in my live trading, because I basically know how a good setup looks like and what I'm looking for. I know it, but yeah, I force trades even now. So what we had there is some kind of a high time frame move, a zone mitigation, and then 2.0 started to hold. We are breaking these highs with an impulse, creating these zones. And here we had this step into the zone. And in this case, of course, if you are trading from the zone, you could have like even faster winner, no? Because this is my entry point, and you could take profit here. But so often it will be just this, and then absorb and then go. It's like crazy. But here you have already impulse, this tightening before the top of the impulse itself and the original range, and then you had an entry. So yeah, you had this entry which didn't want to close above it, and yeah. Yeah, and then it worked out pretty well here for 2R. Let's see how it developed. So after these breaks, it made this. It didn't went to the zone. So, and you see, if you are forcing, maybe you are looking at this zone and you enter, you have a loser or something, you could enter again because it's moving back and forth. Then at last you have this clear move, and you can buy stop it, but it doesn't happen. Maybe you cancel it, or you enter here once, it gives you a loser. But then if you want to really force things, you have this impulse correction impulse, which actually works, and then you have impulse correction impulse, and so on. But with all the losers that you took here, maybe now you don't even want to enter because you are afraid. So yeah, it saves a lot of entries, and as you can see here, it will save more. So this is an entry, and I guess it should probably be a loser now. And why? As you can see yourself, the impulse here is basically broken with this. It has this deceleration. Yes, we have the zone, we have some impulse, correction impulse through the high, but it just didn't follow. It actually showed some move, but yeah, this was already pretty high up, and it was natural to expect some continuations. Sorry, some deeper pullbacks. And here, oh my god, how many times during live markets, when I have a zone like this from higher time frames and the price approaches, I'm just afraid that I will miss this big move, you know? And I can say, oh, okay, this is fractal break, I'm just going here. Now it went to loser. Now this is absorption, I'm going here, I'm going here, I'm going here. So many possibilities for losers, you know? Then you can enter here and it starts to chop, you become stressful. But with ICIs, maybe you wait for this, you know, and then take your loser once. But at least you know that you followed immediate price action. You followed immediate price action. So these were some. Oh, so actually, I was starting to think here, maybe I should go to the short side. And it was cool because I saw this impulse correction and I said, okay, if we want a deeper correction and we want to break the zone, it could happen like this. And I was playing with like placing the sell stop, but it never actually happened. So I saved this loser, which is a big thing. And then it started to move up this really ugly, not clear setup, which is not a setup here at this time, but you could argue that you had this SSC absorption and now impulse correction and impulse, but correction is so like high range, and you had this mini impulse correction, impulse clear. So this is setup which I took as a first trade during this backtesting session. But because of the position we are in, I mean, we are still like it's just not clear price action here. But and I expected more back and forth, but instead it just went impulse correction impulse, and while breaking this I just went here and it was instant loser. Then it started to go again. I said, okay, one more impulse correction. If we go above, I enter. But we didn't, so I canceled it and saved myself an entry. And again, you could argue, okay, but you could enter this SSC. Maybe. But if I enter here, it goes, then goes here, then goes again and just chops. However, I entered this impulse correction impulse with the overall high time frame target there, and it was one more loser, so a losing streak. And then I was just basically said, okay, I need to see what 1 hour will do, because at this point of time 1 hour, yes, like it's building something, it's looking to take this high and so on, but overall it was pretty choppy at this moment. And as you can see, for hours, what it is doing, it's creating this move, or if you want this, mitigating a zone, and creates what? Impulse correction, impulse through these highs, through these highs, through this high, into liquidity, into the fuel. But I don't know, maybe Asian time, maybe something, I didn't enter there. We had this smaller impulse correction. Then we had like this impulse correction and huge impulse. I wrote here price didn't show tight before the break, so the only possibility was to enter either from the fractal zones or on the break of the main high. Also, this is an area of clear 1 hour NCIs and break of the daily highs. So yeah, theoretically you could do it. You could do it with the break of this or on the zone, and you can accompany it by the move on the 1 hour, so impulse correction and daily. But again, in backtesting in real life, sometimes you just miss the moves. Here we had what? We had a big break. So now what weak hands are doing? They are selling this, kind of like I tried to do before. But again, I'm doing it because my entry target is extremely small, and when we have some space to potentially move in the deeper zone, when we already are moving. But basically, when you have one break, you expect it to be a reaccumulation. So yeah, no need to force shorts. When we had a break, and this then started, so we have this overextended leg, which we kind of can ignore, you know, so we just imagine that it's not there. And now we start, because it's a flush out most likely. Yeah, and then we have impulse, correction. Correction is nice here, the break is nice, the impulse itself is broken down with these candles and does not have this acceleration. Yeah, you see, by the way, I need I will add this rule, so let me add it. So what I want to add into the quality of the impulse is that perfect impulses, they will start with a bit smaller candles, you know, and then accelerate through the breakout. It means like the power of the like the buying or selling or the money is coming so strong that it actually starts to accelerate while breaking. So it is eating up the liquidity. However, when you see an impulse like this, yeah, when it starts big but then decelerates while in the end, and yeah, then it means about it signalizes weakness. So this was a possible entry. I didn't take it. I didn't take it, maybe because of Asia time. Yeah, because of Asia time, but it I don't know how, if anyone will look at it, but again, I'm doing it for myself first of all, because I wanted to see the price action once again, since I'm still building up the ICI for myself, but so far I like it. Here, entering big, unclear, weaker range, objectively hard to trade, even with 1 hour target. However, still expanding bullish since daily in bullish and 1 hour, 4 hours reaccumulation. So let's take a look. As you can see, daily is still looking to take these highs. 4 hours maybe starts accumulation, reaccumulation. So yeah, and you see 1 hour is just looking like nothing too short, nothing too long. These are conditions where you just wait and go to other markets. And on previous 2 backtests, I tried it to trade conditions like this, but then it just basically does not make sense. Maybe if you're trading like 0.5 R, it makes sense, but even for 2 R, it will be extremely hard. So still waiting. This is clear how distribution and accumulations are looking at. Yes, this is definitely clear. Constant shifts of structure, you know, the absence of clear impulses or their presence, but seemingly from random places. I mean, so like, let's say this, you know, we have impulse, then maybe a reaction from the zone, but instead of continuations, we just have a random impulse to the upside. And it's going like this, like up and down, chop, impulse, chop, 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 impulse, up and down. So yeah, this is how accumulation and distributions are looking like. Instead, reaccumulations, they will have some verticality and they will have more clear price action, you know, more clear price. Accumulation is not looking like this. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. I wish I could transfer this attitude from backtesting to real life. It's so much harder. Yeah, that's why I sometimes even said a bit about these people who share, like, you know, this backtesting results that have 300% gain in 1 year, but then on real life it's just destroying the accounts. That's really crazy how trading is playing with our minds. So I just waited, and at this time, as you can see, we have this build up, this clear build up, and the price is going. However, I just didn't have anything for myself. Oh yeah, it went back up. So here are some comments here. No 2.0 build-ups, basically saved loser. Why saved loser? Oh, so I didn't want to enter from here, and I waited for a build-up or something like this. And in the case of as a C entry, it could be an entry already, but probably it will fail to the downside. Yeah, and this is a safe entry. The price just starts to fall. Is there any possibility for shorts here? I mean, at the point when we are looking at this, it's more like a box. So any shorts, yes, it could be argued this is impulse, like impulse, correction, impulse. Yeah, I mean, it's possible, like impulse, correction, impulse, but and it's still a reaccumulation, but yeah, it's more likely than not will go into chop. So yeah, sometimes it works, but it does not make sense because you can easily slip into forcing things like I did here, you see. So I said, okay, we had some reaction from higher time frame move, and now we have this impulse correction, and if we go below, maybe we'll continue to the lower side. But we remember that the higher time frame is bullish, so it was immediate loss. Also like some movement, and yeah, and here is you see it's price action after a long time of back and forth, so the price is not actually in the form, but I started to force, even in backtesting mode, I started to force trades. I started to try to predict, okay, this is reaccumulation, and now we have this impulse correction, probably going to take it, but it just does not happen. And yeah, you see the impulse is broken with these candles, deceleration, relatively overextended. Daily is unclear, I'm commenting here. Yeah, daily is starting to chop. So yeah, this and in the live markets you can force a lot of such setups, and this is a big problem because I tell you, I mean, in the backtesting I have almost 50% for a 2R. That means that every trade, even if I don't count break-even, so let's say it's either a winner or a loser. So for 10 trades, you will have 10R profit minus 5. Let's say even, yeah, let's say 5, yeah, 10. So you have 5R profit for every 10 trades. So that's crazy. But in real life, I have like 33 to 34% because I have much more forced trades. So in real life, my high quality trades are basically the same, like in backtesting, but there are a lot of medium quality and lower quality and a lot of repeat entries. Yeah, so many things to work on. Here I try to follow shorts once again, so we are starting to build up these chains. We have these big moves, and overall, you know, instead of doing something like this, we are moving into some direction. So I said, okay, maybe if we had, so yeah, what I thought is this impulse correction, impulse. And here I said, since the price started to chop and return back to the zone, I expect it to be a loser, and probably in real life it would make sense to close here, but it turned out to be a winner. And over the course of past 2 or 3 weeks on live trading, I also noticed that I closed the trade in these situations sometimes, and more often than not it went to take profit then later. Here we had this classical like heartbeat ICI, you know, heartbeat strategy. Yeah, you see, it's really so damn cool. Yeah, that's real cool. And here we will have like a higher time frame ICI. Oh, actually, it's, yeah, this ICI, and once the price started to build itself up, I mean, yeah, it's still pretty unclear, but since this is still a reaccumulation, it made a significant move to the upside. It created a correction, and it started to break this correction in the direction of high time frame bias. Yeah, and here I said, okay, if we enter from the zone, then the stop out, what week? Maybe this week. Yeah, you see, this is a stop out of this protected low, but this was not a trade. The trade was this one. Yeah, it actually was a trade. So the entry was with the momentum through these highs and through these highs. So really cool entry actually. And it went like here was the take profit. Here I say, okay, this can work, but it's force and be in a row, so better wait for a reaccumulation, remodel. So we had a break. Here we head into the zone. So why this zone? Because this zone mitigated this and this basically. So this was the last unmitigated part. What we had there? We had this impulse correction, impulse that failed because probably the stop will be here. Then we had this impulse correction, impulse that worked, correction that worked, impulse correction that worked, and yeah, one more impulse correction and possible continuations. And here I'm telling, okay, yeah, this is a reaccumulation, so too early for shorts, of course. That's why it's better to wait for reaccumulation to confirm. But why not enter here? I don't know. It looks like pretty big pullback and now starting to go. I don't know why no entries here. And these setups are looking nice. I mean, they are not perfect, but looking not bad. Oh, I mean, it's Asia time. It's Asia time. Yeah, so this is probably as well like a real classical situation when you trade in the system like this. When you have some kind of higher time frame build up, so you have accumulation, the price starts to go, so really big impulse. Then it creates a reaccumulation and starts to confirm it. Yeah, this is a system in a nutshell. And you see, you don't need, when you know the target, you don't need this perfect hits of S&Ds and refinements, because you understand, okay, we have this break, now the price wants to go here and ultimately here. What the price is doing, for example, at this point, it's moving up, where? To this high. To do what? To go here. If this is impulse correction impulse, the chances is it will continue. So this, of course, is much harder to spot or trade because it's vertical, but it's still working. And now here it's very choppy and overextended relatively, and it's after the break. So I just waited. Price started to chop. Let's wait. Let's see if we have some short possibilities. I mean, maybe, but I mean, you can explore these options, but usually it does not lead to anything good. We have a reaction from a higher time frame zone, so let's see. No longs, no shorts. Yeah, no longs, no shorts. That just wait. And remember, we are moving in a high time frame impulse, and now we are reacting to the zone. As you can see, the initial reaction also underwent this impulse correction, and so on. But again, it's important to trade in a good session, at least for lower time frames. And yeah, this was one of the entries. So cluster building up from 4-hour zone, so full mitigation, full internal mitigation, and now moving up. This reaction holds the zone, starting to build up, making this small impulse correction. And on 15 minutes, it's basically, yeah, this impulse, big, huge correction. So this is not typical, but I was just, I guess, yeah, it was just a buy stop. So what are about it? Any entry from the zone will be wiki with chances of stopping out and being stressful. Yes, definitely. So this was the first touch into the zone. And you can say, okay, this is the zone, I am entering here. Entering here, this is my stop. And yes, this trade will work. However, compare it, the development. So you are stressful, you having a decision fatigue here, and now you're almost stopped out because the price is not going anywhere. But if you are buy stopping, you have the impulse with you. Yeah. And it's so much faster. So like compare here how many candles, 16 candles, and here 5 or 6 candles. Yeah, that's great. Here one more entry, probably a loser, I don't know, but basically just following the same entries. Impulse correction, impulse. Yeah, it went a bit to the upside, but then broke back. And here I say this is probably a good place for a break even, because again, what I noticed, the price either goes to a target, or if it doesn't go to a target, it will do, so this is a target, it will do like this. And then you understand, okay, you need one more impulse to go. But if the price does something like this, like, you know, this weak impulse, and then big return up to the entry point, so it means that the price probably starts this, and you will most likely be stopped out. And unfortunately, I had a lot of trades already. I mean, not a big significant number, but a lot, when the price goes here and then starts to fall. And yeah, it's a break even or a loser. Or other times it comes here, chops a little bit and goes. So you need to take it into considerations. Losers are part of trading. Then trades that start to run and go to break even or stop loss. Trades that go instantly to a stop loss. They are all part of any system. Yeah, I mean, I'm much better at backtesting basically than at live trading. Here, no need to be worried about this kind of moves, because it's almost not possible to predict or sustainably trade them. And here I mean these shorts. No need to be worried, yeah. But they will be yeah, and I mean, it's possible to predict them in a way that that when the pullback is happening, you understand that, okay, it's probably going to be a pullback. But the big difference, is that pullbacks, they develop in a much more choppier way compared to the main movement. And I mean, how could you predict this move? Yes, you could say that this is impulse correction, impulse, but what is the context? The context is really poor here. And yeah, basically that's it. Then you have this SSC, which will not give you a good RR. Okay, so here the price starts to react from high time frame zone and goes from this zone. And I said, okay, if we break this, we can try to enter. But it was a saved entry, so the price will return here. And local context is possible redistribution from this move, and or even accumulation, but it does not matter because in this case both are choppy. And impulse of average quality and pullback is really strong. You see, pullback is really strong. And if you trade in SSC, you will probably take it. And you will probably take it maybe from here even. And you will need to wait all this period of time to be maybe stopped out. Yep, maybe stopped out. Actually, no, you will not be stopped out, and it works out. But yeah, but it was not a trade, or winner or a loser. It was a second. It was cancelled here, basically. Loser and winner there, and I mean this loser and this winner through this high. And you could miss the move, but now it's even better to enter when you have this foundation. Ideally, after this, you will have some reaccumulation, and then you will enter on the way up. But there was no reaccumulation except of these fractal ones. And here, when price created a lot of these highs, yeah, these highs, and we had these highs from higher time frame, so it was definitely a good opportunity. If the price is starting to break it, it's a good opportunity to enter. And then if you are wrong, you will be wrong basically immediately, and you will understand, okay, the price is back and forth, and you can just wait it out, or maybe take one more entry here. You know, maybe it will be a loser, and if the price will want to break, it will break. Okay, you can go to other markets, or you can just wait further, and if it doesn't want to do it, it will show clearly that it wants to go. It really will. You see it yourself. I already recorded. I mean, I recorded more trades, but one session actually for 1 hour or so. It was I forgot to turn on my mic. By the way, let me check if I did now. Yeah, I probably did. Okay, so on that bigger ICI, like on 1 hour, as you can see, it's impulse, correction, possible impulse. And on 15 minutes, we have impulse, correction, and through this impulse. So in real life, I noticed that I tried to enter a bit earlier, of course. But now I'm like... What the price does here. Goes, mitigates here. Goes impulse into the zone. Builds this, and breaks. So this is such a cool strategy to focus on continuations. And now, how do you think the weak money, what they are doing here? So they say, okay, the price tried to go short, but now it could be a fake breakout or something. But yeah, we are breaking, and we will possibly continue. I mean, I know because it's a winner. Yeah, I mean, at this specific moment, we didn't continue. But now, after this sharp break, by the way, we're into the zone with absorption. Can you imagine how much selling pressure now this pair will have, and so much liquidity to create these big moves? Really nice. Yeah, I'm really so happy with this backtesting session. It was so clean. Yeah. Yeah, and 2 hour targets are really cool. And then you have this chop. Oh, maybe it's the end, no? Yeah, I guess it's the end. Yeah, it's the end. And this is time for the next part, so... Yeah, it's time to do it, all this work. Thank you for being here. And maybe I will record one more video, but I guess these 3 are more than enough to combine with the plan, and I plan to update the plan I sent. Okay, have good luck, and I wish you good. I wish you all the best. Bye.